I think my juices flow all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know as much as I know.
Right now, we've been able to stuff the stuff.
The curse is broken. NC State fans, finally. Finally.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
I mean, that's a triple play.
The Wolfpack ain't for soft. It ain't for soft people.
Welcome back to Pack Therapy. I'm Joe Giglio, joined by Wolfpack great Mike Lennon. Mike, we were hoping to avoid this year on Pack Therapy, but it was created for a reason because, as Phillip Rivers so eloquently said, Wolfpack ain't for soft people. NC State loses at Clemson 30-20. You combine Clemson's win the week before in overtime at Wake Forest, and realistically, Clemson's going to win the Atlantic Division. Something bizarre would have to happen for Clemson not to win the Atlantic Division. So my question for you is, where does NC State go from here? It's only one ACC game in the books. They've got 7 games left on the season. How do you kind of regroup and put this thing back together and try to play for something where you know your primary goal is probably out of reach?
Yeah, it's got to be really tough on these players. You talk about 17 guys that came back, and their goal was to win the ACC championship, and it just isn't going to happen at this point. I mean, Clemson, I don't see them losing 2 games. So tiebreaker is going to go to them. So what are you playing for? You're playing for 10-win season. You're playing for maybe 11 wins. I mean, this could still be one of the best teams in NC State history, and they're left with a bitter taste in their mouth last year about their bowl game. Now's their opportunity to get maybe to a New Year's Bowl. So that's what you got to play, and you got to get over it fast because this Florida State team's coming in town. They're not going to feel sorry for NC State. Florida State needs this win. It is a huge game for Florida State. They play Clemson next week. They lost to Wake Forest last week. Their only chance of getting to the ACC championship is winning this game. They got to win this game. They got to win next week against Clemson. So there's a lot at stake this week, but NC State needs to look and move on fast because it's going to be a tough one.
I enjoy talking to you for many reasons, Mike. But number one right here is going to be you are the world's preeminent expert in knowing how to have to play behind a line that isn't always going to give you as much time as you want, offensive line. And that was my big takeaway from the Clemson game. NC State's going to have to do some problem solving on their offensive line. As someone who has been through this, as someone who's had to deal with this, what are some things that you look at from that Clemson game and go, okay, there might be 1 or 2 ways to help not only the line, but Devin Leary and some of those playmakers get a chance to do the thing that they need to do?
I think it was the best Devin has looked, and the numbers don't show it. He was getting the ball out quick, and he had to get it out quick. There was only so much he could do in that game. I mean, those guys coming off the edge, KJ Henry, Miles Murphy, those guys really showed up, and they're game record type players. So as the quarterback, you got to trust your offense line. Even when it's not good, it's so much easier said than done. It's easy for me sitting in this studio booth right now saying trust your offense line. When you're back there and you're getting hit, it's tough to do. But you got to have as much trust in them as you can. And then Tim Beck's got to, call the plays that get the ball out of his hands quick. Call screens, call draws, make it so these pass rushers can't tee off on Devin because it's not easy as a quarterback when you're getting hit, when you're having to get the ball out early. He made some incredible throws. That first third down, are you kidding me? He got that ball out so early. KJ Henry was basically unblocked, and he was able to convert it. So Devin's used to it. He's tough as nails. He's going to hang in there. He's not a guy that's going to, look to get out of dodge. He's going to hang in there, take the hit, and keep staring down the barrel and making the throw. But it's not easy on the quarterback.
So 10 years ago, in the highlight of your college career, NC State beats Florida State number 3 in the country at the time. If you go by wins in school history, NC State beats number 2 Florida State in 98. So it's up there, right? In 1967, NC State beat number 2 Houston on the road. Obviously, you're going to have to consider that. But given that Florida State, what they turned into the next year, they win the national championship. Given I think they had 24 NFL players on their roster. You can make the argument, and you're down 16-0 at half. You can make the argument it's the biggest win in school history. It's certainly one of the biggest upsets in school history. We're going to talk to Brian Underwood, who caught the game-winning touchdown in that game. We're going to talk to Jake Robinson, who you're going to know, most people know as the gif of the guy, the big dude, up on the wall at Carter Finley Stadium in front of the student section, waving his shirt, holding on to a pole. But this is 10 years. And in our Garner Gambling group, we get a text this morning. Here's the final drive. And I want to relate this to this NC State team. The game-winning play is a bunch formation where you have two guys going one way and another guy coming under. Mike, I don't see a lot of those routes and those combinations with Tim Beck and NC State, and I've said my piece about what I think about Tim Beck, and I've written for it on WRAL-Sportsfan.com. But I look at that route, I look at that drive, and I look at some of those plays. I just don't see NC State coming out in those plays and scheming guys open the way that I think this group, without an Emeka Emezi, kind of has to play. How am I right? Am I wrong? You tell me, because you know more about this stuff than I do. And if I'm wrong, you just tell me.
No, I agree that versus the man coverage looks, they got to help the receivers out. And you do that, what you're talking about, a bunch formation, crossing routes. And that was a great play call by Dana Bible, because not only was it a bunch formation, but we actually made it a 4-by-1. So that causes confusion. I think that's why Brian was wide open on that, is because usually you're used to a 3-by-1 formation where the running backs opposite from the three receivers, if that makes sense. But bringing him over creates confusion with the defense, and I think they can just scheme it up. You know, NC State's got talented receivers, but let's help them out. Let's run bunches. Let's run stacks. Let's run motion. Let's run these pick plays.
Motion's the other one that I haven't seen a whole lot of.
Yeah, and it's just that just is an advantage to the offense that it's not really extra. It doesn't require any thinking by the offense. You just motion the guy. But it causes a lot of communication, which leads to confusion of the defense. So I would like to see more of that just to help these receivers, you know, get the separation. You can scheme it up. They don't always have to just go against press man, and it's just a one-on-one drill where you got to win. You can help scheme it up as well.
Dave Doeren has been really good after losses. His good teams in particular, they've learned since the 2016 season. That was the Bambard kick. The next week they got destroyed by Louisville. I think since that time, NC State has been, Dave Doeren in particular, has been really good after a loss. I have a lot of confidence, actually, in NC State this week against Florida State. How do you see this one?
I do, too. And I think it's going to be a matchup of strength on strength. NC State's defense versus Florida State's offense. Florida State has a really good quarterback in Jordan Travis. They have two really good running backs. And Jordan Travis has done a really good job getting the ball into his playmakers' hands. They got Johnny Wilson, the transfer, really big guy.
6'7", he's gigantic.
Ontario Wilson. And another receiver. So they are a problem, but we stack up well because our defense is great against the run. Our defense has been great against the pass, not giving up the big play. And they played well against Clemson. I mean, our defense did play well. I thought they could have been a little bit more opportunistic. When you're going against a team like Clemson, you go down to Death Valley on a 36-game win streak, you can't drop interceptions. And they would have been good plays. That would have been a great play, those two dropped interceptions. I'm not saying everyone's expecting you to make it, but if you want to beat Clemson at Death Valley, you got to come up with those plays.
Let me be clear here before we go to our conversation with Brian Underwood, the receiver who caught the game-winning touchdown pass. Also caught 10 touchdown passes that year. Also, with your help, set an ACC record for consecutive games with a touchdown catch. So we'll talk to Brian here in a second. But I had questions about DJ Uiagalelei this season, and I doubted him. And that doesn't change what he was last year, but he was the reason Clemson won the game on Saturday night. So credit to him, props to him for the way that he played, made plays with his feet, extended some plays. Yes, he still missed some throws, and he's probably not ever going to be Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, and that's fine because there are other ways to win football games. So credit to Clemson, credit to their defensive front, as Dave Doeren pointed out. I thought really was the difference in that game. So we'll see how NC State can get their season back on track. But let's go back in the time machine. 10 years ago, NC State beats number 3 Florida State 17-16 in a memorable night game at Carter Finley Stadium. We already know one of the principals involved, Mike Glennon. And now let's talk to two others right here on Pack Therapy. All right, joining us now here on a very anniversary special of Pack Therapy is receiver Brian Underwood. Yes, Mike Glennon threw the pass. That was kind of the easy part of the job, but Brian Underwood made the catch in traffic, held on after getting his clock cleaned in the end zone illegally, I might add. Brian, thank you so much for joining us here on Pack Therapy. And first of all, can you believe it's been 10 years?
No, I can't. I thought about it when Mike texted me about doing the podcast, and I was like, man, it's really been 10 years. And it's kind of reflective on a bunch of stuff. But yeah, can't believe it's been 10 years of that since that whole thing went down.
All right, so are you a details person?
Yeah, I would say to an extent, depending on what it is.
All right, so what was the name of the play, the winning touchdown?
Let's go, Brian. Don't let me down.
I can't remember the formations. I want to say it was Trey Wright, either Z short or Z end. Scat 22 Falcon straight.
Boom. This guy is on top of it. I thought I would be the only one. I was going to bring it up. I was going to say, I think it was triple right Z short, Scat 22 Falcon scrape. But
yeah,
it was a great play call. And right when they called it, I'm like, this is gonna win it. And I didn't think it was going to go to you, Brian. I thought it was going to go to Tobias. Because the play, Brian was more of like a clear out route. He was like technically the first read in the progression, but usually it doesn't go to him. It was really like if it flashes, take it. Otherwise, we're trying to get to. It was Tobias Palmer running kind of a return route. But man, it opened up, and it was like slow motion for me. I don't know if from your perspective, me and Brian have actually never talked about this. From your perspective, but it was like a slow motion movie for me. Right when I let go of the ball, first of all, I saw it wide open, but the defensive lineman for Florida State got his hands up, and it missed his finger by an inch. You know, you talk about a game of inches. I was like, this ball is getting batted down, and it felt like slow motion for something that happened so fast. But did you notice that? Did you remember that defensive lineman getting his hand up? I don't know if you guys see that as receivers.
I mean, at the time of the play, honestly, no. Like, I think I was too much in the moment because it's like what you were just thinking. Like, I wasn't really thinking like, oh crap, this could come to me. It was more like this is a play that I got to get somebody else open, and if it does come to me, just make sure you win, or at the very least catch. So, and to put it out there, the hit did not hurt. Just
did not?
Put it on record. This is the first time. This did not hurt. Did not hurt. I promise you, it's not an exaggeration. But just what Mike was saying, like I didn't really pay attention to the hands. It was more so just kind of seeing the ball. Cause like, so oddly enough, we were working on hand drills, and it ended up paying off.
I mean, it was a cheap shot. I'm not saying it was the hardest hit you ever took in your life. I'm just saying it was a cheap shot. You weren't expecting it. I'm sure you were so thrilled, and it was already a touchdown. Like it didn't quite matter. There was just insult, right? But
yeah,
I
think
it was more of the visual. It was more of the visual.
Yeah, I would say in his standpoint, I think that was a frustration cheap shot because I mean we pretty much kind of held them in check all second half, and then we ended up having a crazy drive, 3 for a fourth down conversions, 2 to Quentin Payton, 1 to Asa Watson, and then the game winning score there. So I'm pretty sure they were just kind of frustrated the fact that they couldn't figure us out with that last drive right there.
All right, I'm going to ask Mike first. It's 16-0 at halftime. A man of many words, Tom O'Brien. What does he say? You're down 16-0 at the half, Mike. To number 3, Florida State.
I don't really remember anything being said at halftime. I don't know, Brian, if you do anyway. I think it was pretty quiet, but I do remember Coach Bible came in and was like, we got them figured out. We're going to attack their linebackers. We're going to get after the linebackers in the pass game. And really, that's what we did the whole second half. We threw running to the running back on option routes, and we threw shallow crosses to these receivers. And we did make the linebackers wrong. So it was a great halftime adjustment by Coach Bible, but I don't really remember any pep talk at halftime. It was pretty quiet from what I remember. Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
I would say so too. I think the only person that kind of came in was kind of Coach Bible. I think O'Brien kind of came in with the even keel. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I can remember Coach Bible going just kind of ballistic on like you said, we had him, we got him figured out. We're going to attack him and all of that kind of stuff. So because we kind of kept it simple. We were anticipating man all week. They pretty much like a man-heavy team because they kind of relied on their defensive line to get pressure, and then they had pretty fast DBs, so they figured if anything else fails, they can't get beat deep and stuff like that. So we just kind of kept them on the run and made people make a decision who they wanted to guard.
Mikey G loves to give me a hard time, Brian. He loves to say, "What were you writing at the time?" And I'm laughing. I'm listening to you talk, and I'm laughing right now because I remember the year before you got absolutely murdered in Tallahassee. Like, it was one of those games that I go, what is even going on here? You lose 34-0 the year before down in Tallahassee, right?
Yeah.
You come home, it's 16-0 at the half. I am MFing and burying you people because I'm like, they've now been outscored 50-0 in the last 6 quarters. And lo and behold, Where do you think the second half turnaround kind of started? Because I remember we're allowed to bag on Jimbo now because he's at Texas A&M and he's kind of failing a little bit. I mean, he just made so many odd decisions as a coach. Do you remember any thinking, wow, that was really dumb? They're really kind of giving us a chance here. I got to ask you because this one over here is like still Mr. Politics 10 years later. Won't say anything bad about anybody.
I mean, I would say I can't really give it like a pinpoint what he did wrong. I would say it was just kind of like a series of unfortunate events. You know, the punt block. You know, I think Justin Burris had a pick six not a pick six, but a crucial pick six. Yes. I think on a big pick, and then I don't know. I just think we played him well coming out the half, and like I don't think it's anything that he did wrong. I just think we came out and just wanted to showcase what we were ready to do, and I think we just kind of matched up. I don't know. Maybe I would say he probably kept it maybe too simple a little bit. Maybe I don't know. But to say exactly what went wrong, it's kind of hard to kind of tell. I mean, I don't know. I really can't give it like a definite answer. Is that
the best team you guys played in your career? I mean, they were number 3. They won the national championship the next year.
Yeah. Man, I would have to think. I mean, obviously with them being third in the nation, there obviously had a lot of great guys. You know, you got not Jordan Lucas, LaMarcus Joyner.
Ronald
you had
D-line went first round, Xavier Howard.
Yeah, they had
Brian. It was the best team we played.
I mean, I would say stacked-wise, yes, but like you never know. Some people have different kind of schemes. Even though they're not as stacked as another team, they may have a good, you know, they might be better as like a more of a scheme type of situation. Not saying that like they don't have talent over there. They were loaded. They had easily a lot of good guys that could play in the league and all of that stuff like that. So nowhere near trying to discredit them on that in any way, shape, or form.
Let me put it this way: give my guy a chance to get a couple flowers here. If you ever had any concerns, or anyone to this day ever comes up to you and says, "Hey, Russell Wilson was awesome and Mikey G couldn't play," do you ever just say, "Hey, man, Florida State 2012, they had 24 pros. Russell never did that."
No, I always was a fan of Mike. Always. Like any of my friends will tell you. They always try to say something negative about him. I always say Mike he can read a defense, he can throw a great ball, catchable ball. He's a great leader. No shade at aggressive in any way, shape, or form. But I didn't really play with Mike. I'm not Mike, but I didn't really play with Russ. But Mike had some tangibles I really like to play with, you know.
Brian, better say that. I mean, we had his best year.
I mean,
there was an ACC record involved in touchdowns in consecutive games.
It wasn't even. It's not even that. It's more so just, you know, we had that time to actually mesh together, and like I didn't really have a chance to kind of play with Russ. I can see Russ is what the things he kind of prepped and how he did his thing and all of that, but just kind of being with Mike and seeing how he played and how we worked together and how he threw the passes to me in the proper way for me to be successful, and then, you know, we worked together and tried to be on helping him get an open pass to throw to somebody. So, no discredit to Mike in any way, shape, or form, regardless of anything anybody else puts out there. And that's not because we had a good year that year.
No, Brian's my guy. I used to call Brian Chucklewood because he always has this little smile. Like, most guys, after they score a touchdown, they get all fired up.
Yeah.
All Brian would do is start chuckling. Like, he would have that little smile. But, Brian, you talk about how that hit didn't hurt. I wonder if it was third down in the middle of the game, right across the middle of the, you know, around the 4-yard line, if you would have felt that way. That, after throwing that touchdown, was the biggest adrenaline rush of my life. Do you think you've ever had anything like that?
No. Like, oddly enough, it was no adrenaline rush at the play. It was, like I said earlier, like, it was just being in the moment. Like, I just kind of wanted to make sure I didn't do anything wrong, because I feel like if I panicked, I wouldn't have caught the ball. You know what I mean? If I would have went to the line saying, oh, crap, this could come to me and I'm thinking too much and not thinking about just making a play, I think I would have probably dropped it. But after that play ended and we got to the sideline, the adrenaline just hit. Like, I'm screaming, hugging people, looking at the fans going crazy, the whole nine. So, that adrenaline rush was crazy, especially when the clock hit 0, because it was, at that point, it's pretty much a done deal.
Oh, yeah. It was I remember they played
all I do is win. DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled. And, like, everyone's hands go up. And it was, like, the pinnacle of my life, I think. It was just the best feeling I've ever had.
Brian
Yeah.
Underwood, you're good, man. You have to come see us if you're in Raleigh. We'll have to do one of these episodes in person. How about that?
No, that's cool. Just let me know.
Perfect.
Mike got my number, got my contacts. We'll do it again.
Perfect. I love it. Brian Underwood, 10 years later. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank y'all for your time, man. Y'all have a good day.
All right, so we talked to Brian Underwood. You know, he caught the game-winning touchdown pass. And obviously Mike Glennon is the co-host here on Pack Therapy. But the only person anyone really remembers from NC State's 17-16 win over Florida State in 2012 is our next guest, Jake Robinson. Jake, man, it's glorious to see you, first of all. Thank you so much for taking your time with us here. The beard looks good.
Yeah, of course.
Hair looks good. You look good. I feel like maybe I should buy you a drink before I ask you to take your shirt off.
I mean, we can start right now.
Is that a Brave shirt?
It is a Brave shirt. Yeah.
Let's see. So he's ready. So, all right, man. I know, and I appreciate you because I know you get a little bit bothered and asked about this a lot. But I felt like it was nice to reunite you here with Mike Glennon. But just give us your, first of all, can you believe it's been 10 years?
No, yeah. Makes me feel super old, but that's cool, man. Like, I'm glad it's been a nice gift for 10 years. Every time I go to a wedding, everybody stops and shows me all the gifts they sent to their wedding party about how, rowdy they were going to get that night. And I'm just like, let's go, man. I'm happy for you.
So I was going to say, how often does the gift come up? So you're the guy, so everyone knows, you stand up, you're in front of the student section. There's a pole there for some reason. I still don't know what that pole is.
Something about a microphone for the cheerleaders or something like that.
Okay. So they could maybe the cheer captain or something. I don't know. But you commandeer that thing. You're like Jack on the Titanic,
Yeah, pretty much.
You're like, got the wings spread. You are ready to go. We're spinning around your head like a helicopter. First of all, when did you get the idea to go up there and do that?
So I was trying to find one of my good buddies. I swear I saw him. So I just ran down there. And then, once I got down there, just a red sea of people. So I couldn't find him. So then I was just kind of like, well, now I'm here by myself. And I ran away from everybody. So what do I do? And then I wanted to storm the field. I looked down. Some guy's just getting the soul beat out of them. And I'm like, okay, well, they don't want us to storm the field. So I was like, hint taken. So then I see this pole, and the security guy sees me just like oogling over it, and I'm just like staring at this pole, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Don't you do it." And I'm just like, "You're right, I won't." And then I started thinking, I was like, what is he really gonna do? I had a little rebel in me. So I hopped on the pole, and I was there for a while with my shirt on, and then, at a certain point I was like, this just seems, like primal. I just need to take my shirt off and just, listen to the words of P.D. Pablo.
That is fantastic. And you talk about legends never die. I mean, I think this GIF is going to be around forever, but our good friend Chris Bullard, shout out to him for setting this up. He told me that you almost didn't make it to the game. What happened before the game where we wouldn't have this infamous, the legend of Jake Jams?
Yeah, I remember this was when like Honey Jack Daniels came out, and it was awesome. This was, I don't know, it just dropped on the market. So we were like, man, this is really, really good stuff right here. I don't know, but I'm never a person that leaves at halftime, but that one game I did. Maybe it was more of that Honey calling me. I don't know. So I went back to the tailgate for a minute, and, I think it was like 16-3, and, Mike led a great drive, got us in between, got us to 6 points. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy crap. I was like, it's a one, like, we can actually win this game now. Because it was a defensive battle in the first half. So once it got to 6, I mean, as fast as I could run, I was hauling down Trinity and got back in the student section. And then, that fourth quarter drive was just literally like one of the most dramatic, like you can't script that fourth quarter drive. I mean, Mike, we had like four fourth down conversions, I think it was, at least 3. So, like, it was such a dramatic roller coaster. So once we finally, got that Underwood catch, like, I had to pop off, So it just made sense.
So 8:00 game. What time? What did the Jake Jams really start that day with the tailgate?
Oh, that's a great question. You have to get a time machine. I'm sure it was at least once the sun was up, somewhere around there.
Was it only Jack, the Honey Jack, or were there? What would have been your
Oh,
I need
yeah,
a beer
well,
to pace myself with? What would that have been? What beer would that have been?
usually the Natty Bush, somewhere in that range, because we got to be economical.
Sure. I mean, you were in college, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just to get a little taste,
Now, I don't want to encourage such things, but I think
course
I could. I think I can remember the drunkest I've ever been in my life. Do you think that was the drunkest you've ever been in your life?
Oh, no.
No.
If I was that, no, I would have fallen onto the field. My pants would have come off. Like everybody been like, "Oh, get this guy some help." No. Like we were.
So the standard is the shirt's off, but your pants are on.
Right. Exactly. So that's how you know. Pants on, we're okay.
Okay.
Shirt off, normal day.
Jake Robinson joining us here on Pack Therapy. Now listen, we remember the Florida State game. Did you go to other games, or you just could not get up to that pole? They decided to put a security guard at the rest of the games on that pole.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Some things are just it's kind of like lightning striking. We just don't want to try and repeat it. Nobody likes a sequel. We don't want a Godfather 3 problem. We just want you to remember that one gift. If I find another thing cooler to do, I'm up for it. If you find me maybe if I get in the club and press my, bare chest against the glass, something like that, I'm cool with that. Somebody's got to get me up there, but we can't have a repeat. It's got to be something better. We got to go bigger.
So what was the security guy saying to you? It looks like you kind of looked down at him and just no. What was he trying to say to you?
Yeah, it was basically like I said, he saw me eyeing the pole,
Yeah.
and he immediately tried to shut that down, and he tried. I feel bad if I got him in trouble. I don't know. Somebody was like, "Yeah, he got a talking to." I was like, "Oops, my bad." But he tried his best. I just I sized him up. What do you want me to say? I was like, "Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I'm gonna get on this pole."
Obviously, you didn't know the camera was going to be on you. How long after was your phone blowing up the rest of the night of people texting you saying you were just on TV doing that?
Yeah, that was wild. I texted my cousin, and I was just like, "Was there a chance I was on TV?" Because I was in this certain spot for a while. And then he's like, "You have absolutely no idea what just happened." And then all of a sudden, it was like the floodgates open. I had people, that I haven't talked to in years that were just calling me out of the blue. Just no way that just happened. So, my whole ethos in life is just make people happy, give people a good time. So, that kind of moment gave everybody that and has given people that for 10 years. So, that's the greatest part about it.
Words to live by. We need them this week, Jake, after the Clemson loss here on Pack Therapy. So,
yeah, I get it, man. Therapy session, and yeah, we're here.
I know, but listen, you're not in Raleigh. You're in Asheville.
I live in Asheville.
Okay.
I am currently right now in San Diego. We're doing a little West Coast trip. Was seeing some family, but I left the Clemson game and headed here. Fortunately, not sure I'll be there for our boys this week, but my spirit's always there. So,
we need to get you together with Mikey G in person at a tailgate.
Maybe
the social media content is calling on that, Jake. So let us know.
Some Jack Daniels honey, some Natty and Bush Light.
Yeah, we'll provide the beverages for you. How's that sound?
Perfect.
I'll even upgrade the beer choice.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Perfect. Jake, thank you so much. Best of luck in your travels. And like I said, we're going to need to see you at a home game this season. So we've got your number.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the Bull. But Jake Jams lives forever. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Go Pack.
My juices flow all the time.
Absolutely.
You know as much as I know.
Right now, we've been able to stuff the stuff.
The curse is broken. NC State fans, finally. Finally.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
I mean, that's a triple play.
Wolfpack ain't for soft. It ain't for soft people.